Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kim Ray and you're watching Kim Ray Music TV, and I'm back with another video. This is a review on the Clark Sisters movie, which premiered Saturday night on Lifetime, and I got my whole entire life. Alright, so if you are not familiar with the Clark Sisters, they are gospel legends. Okay, even though I know lots of their songs, lots of their catalog, am familiar with the style of the Clark Sisters, and can attribute a lot of gospel success, a lot of the gospel music makeup to them, I was not familiar with their story. I was not familiar with all of the sisters. I definitely know of Karen Clark, Kiera Clark Sheard, definitely familiar. As a singer, when you think about legends and you think about the makeup of why you sing the way that you do, why you run the way that you do, why you harmonize the way that you do, Karen Clark, the Clark Sisters, you know, they're right up there in the gospel gods. Okay. So there was a movie about an hour and a half, 2 hours long on Lifetime that was about the Clark Sisters and their life. Now, to me, it seemed mostly to be about the mom, Dr. Mattie Moss Clark, and how she put on these workshops, and she was, really into one sound. Yes, having 3 parts and sometimes 4 parts, but it being one voice, not one sound, one voice. Child, it just gave me so much nostalgia and just like a walk down memory lane of thinking about all the choirs I have sung in, and just hearing that harmony, her waking them up in the middle of the night and them locking in them harmonies and banging it out on the keys. I mean, to me, that is my life right there. Okay, so watching this and seeing all these full-figured black women on the screen was a treat. Kev on stage said that this was right up there with the Michael Jackson American Dream. It was, because the woman who played Dr. Mattie Moss, she did the doggone thing. Kiera was acting. Okay, I have not seen her act, but she did that as her mom, right? She did her mom justice. What about in the end when they morphed it from the actresses to the actual singers? And that to me was crazy, because I thought I was tripping. Okay, but anyway, let me see. So I did not realize all the trauma. I kept tweeting like, we just need to hug Twinkie. We just need to hug. In the beginning, I thought Twinkie was the oldest, but Jackie was the oldest. So you seen how Jackie was this protector of her mom, who was being beat on by the pastor of the church, who I guess he was only he only had like 2 or 3 of the kids. Okay, so he's snapping and he's feeling like, you need to be at my prayer breakfast, and you need to be at this, and you need to be a first lady. And the thing of it was just like, he is using all these scriptures to justify what he's doing, but you're still beating on this woman and hit the daughter. So it sparks a conversation. This whole movie, it had a lot of great high points for me, and the music was on point and the singing was on point, and the fact that these women can actually sing, the actresses can actually sing, probably helped out a lot too, so they didn't have to do too much lip syncing. But I think this whole idea of like church folks and religion as it pertains to an actual relationship with God, that was like the looming elephant in the room watching this movie. It just was kind of triggering for me, and I tweeted that too. It was very triggering because you see all these things happening and people using like the name of God to get you to do it. Not just people, Dr. Mattie Moss, she was using like this fear factor of serving God or anything else that's not singing for God, that's not for God, will have you in hell, and you don't need to be doing it. And it's not to say that she was so wrong, because unfortunately this is the rhetoric that we grew up on. If you smoke a cigarette, you're going to hell. If you drink anything, you're going to hell. If you wear pants, you're going to hell. If you listen to anything that ain't singing about God, you're going to hell. This is the rhetoric that it's in the church. And even watching this today, not today or Saturday, even watching it nowadays, it's just like, it's it's comedic for me to see it, you know, on the screen, but it's still occurring today, right now, in churches. So it's not that comedic that it's not happening. Yes, we've realized, you know, as progressive Christians, that a lot of the things, a lot of the ways that we grew up in the church, hearing and seeing is problematic. It's problematic. So watching this, I was just like, ooh, this is going to spark a lot of conversations, because I mean, even when Twinkie talks about, you know, that song that they were doing, and it was like a mix, it had like secular type of makeup to it and foundation to it, because it sounded like a Stevie Wonder song. Just to see the girls and how like nervous they were about telling their mom. I mean, that's real and true of a lot of these religious sectors of Christianity, because that's all it is. It's like Christianity, then you got like Kojic, and you got Pentecostal, and you got Baptist, and you got CME, you got all these different things that fall under Christianity, and then you got like Muslim, and you got, you know, you got all these other Buddhism, and you got all these other religions, and you know, they create divide and categories amongst believers. And that's another strong message from this movie. It's like, you know, Dr. Maddie Moss was just trying to, you know, spread the word of God. And, you know, these bishops and these higher officials within the church were like, no, you can't get up there and sing with them, because that's not of God. It's on a secular stage. And even though the end goal is supposed to be saving souls, they had such a problem with Dr. Maddie Moss getting up here, because it's like a lot of churches, a lot of religious people only want to reach and teach and serve those who are of the like mind, who are of the same, who are already in that same group. Okay, you get a new visitor, you're looking her up and down because her skirt is too short, or her tank top, or you can see her arms. I mean, it's a lot of that has gone on in the church, and it goes on. It continues to happen over and over and over. And so to see, you know, that's traumatic to have to deal with. The fact that they still don't talk to Denise, who is the daughter who had like 8 kids. I was like, okay, yeah, I didn't know much about her. You know, Twinkie having, I guess she has health issues right about now, which, I mean, they're a little older, so it's not completely unheard of, but it's like you really get to see like which child was which child. You know, Twinkie she didn't really get to have dreams like that, because her mom kind of had her job already picked out. You're going to play, you're going to come with me to all these workshops. She was missing school. You see that Jackie was the protector. She was always the one like, I'm gonna have this job though. Okay, I'm gonna work this. We can get together and sing all we want to, but I'm gonna need to have this job though. Okay, so it just it was so crazy to me, because it was like, wow, this is a lot. They are not hiding things or sugarcoating anything. They're showing exactly what it is. And in a lot of cases, like, sometimes you're not healed from stuff like that. Sometimes it triggers or reopens wounds that you thought were closed. So I was like, this is very brave. This is very, very brave. The girl who played Dorinda, it was so funny, because I was like watching, I was like, wow, a lot of her mannerisms are matching Dorinda's mannerisms. But what do you guys think of the movie? I think that it was perfectly casted. I think that it was a good, great music, soundtrack, all the runs, keep all that in there. I like how all of the trauma, they didn't hide it, they didn't sugarcoat it, but I am concerned that this was a little triggering. If it wasn't triggering for the sisters, it could have been triggering for the daughters, like the kids. It could have been triggering for Denise, you know, just seeing how she came to that funeral, and how her and Karen almost got into it, and Karen's supposed to be the shy one, and I just was like, oh, this is a lot to watch on this screen of gospel. You know, it almost, and now go with me, because this is just a rough theory. When you think about all those girls and growing up under their mom, and like how they all had to, you know, when it was time to learn and figure themselves out, like it just was such a dramatic thing because the mom would automatically associate anything that wasn't keeping the group together or serving, you know, this goal of them having this group. It was the devil. And I was just like, oh boy, this is where we mess up. This is where we mess up, because when Twinkie was screaming, I don't know the difference between mom and God. I just was like, oh, this is triggering. This is triggering. Because, you know, you grow up and you hear honor thy father and mother, honor thy father and mother. And then that moves in as like usually what God is saying and what parents are saying, they align, right? And so until you start developing your own relationship, you can get lost in thinking, oh, my mom said this, so God must have said this. But no, that's not always the case. And so that's what was kind of triggering here, because it's like, you know, I love the church to death. Like I said, I grew up in the church, but it's always hard for me to see like the downfalls and the flaws of church and church folks, because we're supposed to be, you know, saving souls, but there's a lot of problems in the church, a lot of problems. I've seen a lot of things go down, and unfortunately it's not just ever just as simple as saving souls. Never. So, but as far as the Clark sisters, it was great to sit on Twitter and tweet with, you know, fellow singers, fellow gospel singers, fellow people who run, just seeing that run game that my good friend Kobe put me on to, and seeing was it Jackie and Karen, you know, doing the runs back and forth. And then, you know, if y'all ain't heard Karen Clark and Kiera Clark of that, you know, going back and forth with the singing, you love me especially different on my feet happily, you know, that okay, y'all need to tune in. So comment down below on what you thought about this movie, what you thought about this review. Put your questions, put anything that you want to talk about. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at KemRae Music TV. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!